Okay, chess kids, before we get going on this YouTube video, I'm just going to say you need to power up your iPhone, power up your tablet, power up your Tesla, because you're going to need a lot of brain power to get through this one. Before we get going though, hit subscribe button. That takes very little power. This game was played between one of the most famous chess kids of all time and the recent competitor in the 2022 ChessKid All-Star Finals. That would be Mr. Dada, who's gotten the best of me before. Well, that's not that hard to do, but in this game, Dada was trying to beat international master Shreyas Royal. You know him as Crush Master 2019 on ChessKid. It actually took place during my live show. Now, at the moment, Dada, playing white, is much worse. And if Shreyas was a little bit more of an old man chess player like me, then Shreyas would have won the game boringly, but effectively. Black is ahead by a bishop here, a very strong bishop. Well, bishop for the rook, but when you combine the bishop with the pawn, I consider black to be ahead. And Shreyas could have played old man chess and just traded queens. Of course, white would take back. We simply push the pawn, and because Shreyas's bishop is the same color as the pawn's promotion square, it makes it really easy to win, because no matter where the rook moves in the next turn, all Shreyas has to do is move his bishop somewhere to attack the C1 square. We'll just pick B2, and black is totally winning because this pawn is promoting and black will just be ahead by a bishop. So that's old man chess, simple, effective, not exactly the most exciting, but hey, once in a while the old man gets it done. But instead, Shreyas went for glory with the move C2, and now is when things get crazy. Of course, if he had played old man chess, we probably would not have had a YouTube video to enjoy. So Dada plays Queen E1. What to do when you're losing? Well, that's a subject I know a lot about. Go for craziness and counterplay. That's exactly what white does. Now, because pawn C2 was a discovered attack on the rook, Shreyas went rook hunting. Bishop takes rook. Hey, he is from the UK. He knows about castles. But here comes the comeback. Amazingly, with best play, Dada is actually now winning. Queen check. You only have one legal move. King moves, and here comes the king on a walk. Queen takes F7. Of course, you can't go back because Queen F8 is just mate. So here, kitty, the king comes out. It's not exactly a case of the fighting king. It's more like the desperate king. So Dada, again, plays the most accurate move, Queen F8, and the king has to come further. Now, Shreyas played the best king move. It does matter quite a lot which one you pick. If you pick King G5, it's mate in two, and you probably know the answer before I can even move it. Queen F4 check, forcing the king to the edge, and then Queen H4 is made. So let's go back. Instead, Shreyas played the move King to H5. Now in this position, there is amazingly a forced win for white. I want to show it to you, although it's not that easy to find at all. In fact, the only for sure winning move for white is Queen to E7, which threatens a whole host of things. First of all, the queen can of course take this pawn, force the king over, and then the move Queen to H4 would be a very weird mate, but hey, weird still counts, doesn't it? Yeah, I think it does count. Okay, hopefully you can visualize that in your head. Now, the other idea of putting the queen on this square is that when you play check, because the white queen threatens both of these squares, the king will have to go back into the firing line of this knight. So let me just show you a couple of lines. If you play H6 to prevent the queen from taking and coming around for that checkmate, then it's actually pretty simple. Queen H4 is just mate. Oh yeah, I know. You can mate with the pawn. If you want style points, they're all yours. Mating with a pawn certainly gets the job done. Now, if we go back to this position, let's say black plays a move like, I don't know, Queen to D4. That, of course, prevents the mate in one. And also, if you take this pawn and the king moves, there is no more queen check right here because black will very happily trade queens. Remember, black has a queen in the waiting in the form of this pawn on C2. So that's not really going to bother black too much. But here's the winning line. G4 check. And unless black wants to give away the queen, the king has to go back. But that's right into the firing line of the knight. The knight gives check. The king only has one legal move, which is G7. And now, a lot of knight moves win, but the most accurate move is knight to E5. Now, the king can't move backward. If the king goes back, give check, king moves over, and he's made it in the corner. We've already seen something like that a little bit earlier. So instead, the king would have to come on a little walk. And when the king does come on a walk, then the queen goes behind the king, and we have the hero mate with the knight. The knight actually goes to F3, forking the king and the queen, but more importantly, forking the king and the king's only escape square, which was H4. That is mate on the board. So amazing. But if we go back, there was a winning move for Dada, and it was Queen E7. No, it was not easy to find, but it was pretty, so I had to show it. Okay, Now, what did Dada do instead? He played knight f7. Totally logical chess move. Why? Because it simply threatens mate on the square h6. Also, in a lot of lines, you can give check and force the king down the board as opposed to sideways, which would be a really, really great winning idea. Now, amazingly, there is a defense for black, but even Shreyas couldn't find it. By the time this video comes out, he might be a grandmaster. That's how hard of a move this is to find, when a future teenage grandmaster did not find it. What did he play? Well, he promoted to queen. What should he have done? Well, amazingly, he should have actually sacrificed the queen for the pawn. That way, when the king takes, there are no more g-pawns that can get to g4. Now Shreyas can promote. The queen magically guards the checkmate, and there are no checks for white. And then black, with the extra bishop, should actually go on to win. Just trust me on this one. This is a winning position. The attack on black's king is mostly over. There's no reasonable check for white, and black does have that extra bishop. Okay, so that's what Shreyas should have done. Now, what did he do instead? Instead, he did what pretty much any mere mortal would do, which is promote. And he actually ended up going on to win the game after promoting, because after the move g4, king h4, white played the move queen to e7, but after g5, there was no useful checks, and now it's just a winning position for black. In fact, now it is a case of the fighting king. Black's king is actually helping in the attack because queen to g3 coming over is just going to be a mate, and there's not really any great way for white to stop it except maybe trading queens or something with a move like queen to d6. But even after queen to d6, black can just trade queens and go on to win. Normally, after all, when you've got two queens, you can certainly trade one. Okay, but we need to go back. There was actually one more win for white in this position. This is actually the main reason I'm showing you this video. There's an unbelievable idea. I want you to appreciate how fun this is. Pause your videos, try to figure it out. White to move and win. White has one winning move, all other moves lose. It's all or nothing. Pause your video, come back when you find the answer. Well, if you figured out that it had to be a check, great. Queen to e7 didn't get the job done. There's only a couple of checks left. What we actually need to do is deflect the queen. Yeah, remember that ChessKid lesson from a long ago? If we deflect the queen away from g3, we can mate with our pawn. What's the deflection? Drum roll. Sound more like a trumpet again. Queen to d8 check. And black is totally lost. Because if black takes, now g3 is a mate. Look at that. Two queens against 0, and the 0 wins. We had a video earlier in YouTube land where Alexandra Kosteniuk won with 0 queens against 2, and here it is, another example. In fact, white only has a knight. White is down 2 queens and a bishop, and it's totally checkmate. It does not matter. What a pretty finish. You would go in the ChessKid Hall of Fame, Dada, if you had found that. Of course, this was a blitz game, and both players were down to very little time. Now, black does not have to take that queen on d8, but if black plays any other move here, pretend black blocks with g5, then white will just take, which renews the checkmate threat, g3, and this king is not getting out of the box. Somehow, black's king is getting checkmated on the g3 square. All black can do is slow things down. Again, if black takes, it is still mate on g3. Not as pretty because black only has one queen, but hey, pretty doesn't matter. Checkmate is checkmate. Whoa! Well, there you go. I think your Tesla is probably out of power. You need to plug that into the wall, plug your brain back into the wall. Hopefully you've still got some energy. An amazing game. Maybe you'll be able to beat one of our ChessKid streamers one day.